For this lesson, we are going to look at some things that we can use to help us solve word problems. So one of the bad things and what makes word problems so hard is that every problem is going to be a little bit different. So I could go over 10 problems with you, and then the next one you get is going to be a little bit different. So the easiest way to figure out word problems is just learn to look for key words and what those words typically mean. So let's start with that. And when we're talking about multiplication, some words to look for is if it says product, that's the answer to a multiplication problem. Or it could say simple words like multiply or times. If it's talking about each, sometimes that means we're going to multiply depending on the context, and that goes for per also. You see per, sometimes it means we're going to multiply, but not all the time, so we've got to read in context. And then the word of, like when we talked about percent equations, of means to multiply also. For division, quotient is the answer to a division problem. It could be as simple as divide. And then if you're setting up some kind of ratio, that might mean we're dividing. We wrote per up in multiplication, but it's sometimes division. So again, just look at it in context and what does it mean. And then we'll do subtraction. If you're finding the difference, or it could be simple words like subtract and minus. We could have, if it says there's fewer or less, then we're going to subtract. Or if something is decreasing, then we're going to subtract. Or if we're talking about money and it's a debit, we're spending money, that's a decreasing amount. So subtraction. For addition, sum is the answer to an addition problem. Or we could have simple words like add and plus. If we see more or increase, that means we're adding something. Or again, if we're talking money, if we see credit, that means we're adding money into our account. Sometimes total could mean addition too. If you want to find the total amount of all these different items, you would add up all the items, but total could also mean equals. So be careful on that meaning also. And then a good process for this is we're going to use the 5 Ds is just one way that you can think of problem solving. And that is first you're going to describe the problem. So what's a question asking? And what do we already know or what do we need to know? So getting to know the problem. And then we're going to define. So we're going to say what variable we will use and what does it mean. So basically once you have that thing that's missing, then we look at figure out how we can represent that and solve that in the problem. And then we're going to actually do the problem. So you can do the work using one or more problem solving strategies, and we can go over different problem solving strategies separately. And those could be write an equation, guess and check, draw a picture, and there's tons of other strategies we can look over. And then after we've done the work, then we're going to decide. You always want to look at it. Is your answer reasonable? Does it make sense in the problem? And then once you determine that it is reasonable, then you're going to declare your answer. So you're going to restate the answer in terms of the problem. So if you solve a problem and you get the answer is 5, you want to make sure you say 5 what? If the problem says how many shirts could he buy, you want to say he could buy 5 shirts. If the answer is asking will he have enough money, you want to say yes, he'll have enough money, or no, he will not have enough money. You want to make sure you're describing it in terms of the problem so we can completely understand the answer. So this might come in handy to have out while you're working on word problems. But again, every word problem is going to be different. So look for these key words within the problem. Really think about what is the problem asking. There might be some extra information that you don't need. And then if an answer you get doesn't make sense, go back to the beginning and reread the problem and see if you can figure out what you need to do. And I will say on word problems, it is better to leave a wrong answer with the work than to just erase it and leave it blank, because then I can look back and see maybe where we're going wrong, and we can figure out together what that error is and see if we can fix it.